Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, the Night Stalker, BTK, Son of Sam, John Gacy, and other serial killers are experts at attracting women. Once they land on death row, they're flooded with love letters, propositions, and marriage proposals from adoring females. Why on earth would any woman pursue a relationship with a murderer? Gene Wilder, in Stir Crazy, wondered also when he met his lovely lawyer.
It's always fascinated me are the prison romances that sometimes spring up between inmates and girls from the outside, sometimes quite beautiful girls. I mean, would you, for example, could you actually become involved, romantically, with a prisoner?
And I wondered if this phenomenon was really true. Then I read a story about a beautiful, smart, successful New York City architect who befriended a convicted serial killer on death row who was awaiting execution. She fell in love and married him. What? Didn't she have any other options? I mean, at least one other remote possibility? Wow. Well, I assumed this was an isolated case. Far from it. I learned that thousands of women all over the world leave their jobs, their friends, families, futures, everything for incarcerated murderers. Why? Well, that why began as a curiosity about a world I never knew existed and led me on a 12-year odyssey that shattered my own sheltered little world and everything I thought I knew about romantic attractions. I became obsessed with trying to understand the intricacies of why and how we pursue love relationships, never imagining some of the answers would come from behind prison walls. But that's exactly what happened. But not at first. During the first year of this quest, I began devouring book after book after book on sociology and psychology. I read about Mars and Venus, astrological love signs, love languages, and every shade of gray available in print form. Let's face it, love and attraction are great mysteries. They stir our emotions, bubble up our juices, fill our hearts, or break our hearts. Sometimes simultaneously. Then if love can make us so crazy, why do we crave it, chase it, trip over ourselves to find it, then quit it, try again, change methods or types of men or women? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are simply made that way. We are DNA'd for affection and closeness and acceptance by someone, sometimes anyone. So where can this elusive, confounding love thing be found? For some people, it is peeking out at them from behind steel bars. And I needed to find out why. So, when the books failed me, I went directly to another source, the most extreme, most unlikely, most illogical source of all: men on death row. I wrote to nearly 300 inmates, including serial killers, asking them about their love life. Why not? When the letters began arriving at my home from Folsom Prison, Rikers, San Quentin, my mailman began avoiding me. Before opening that first letter, I closed my office curtains, then quickly shut and locked the door. I don't know why, because I worked from home and I lived alone. But it felt so exciting and terrifying. I knew that once that first letter touched my shaking hands, I would enter a world of perverse darkness, searching for an elusive glimmer of light to help understand some basic human desires. Maybe I was the crazy one. These men were killers and master manipulators. Could there possibly be any usable insights? Or would it all be a bunch of bullshit? I had no idea. But I was so obsessed with learning deeper truths, even if they came from the most unlikely sector of society, there was never a thought of turning back. Here is Robert Ayers, former warden of San Quentin.
Yeah, there could be very valid reasons for most of these relationships, but I think also that the people who enter into these relationships need to understand that you're almost taking the role of a snake charmer. Okay, and you better be very careful because you can get bitten here.
As we embark on this journey together, will we get bitten? Maybe a little sometimes. Will we begin to crack the code about love and attraction? Or will we begin cracking up? Maybe a little of both. Will you enjoy sitting across from a serial killer with me? I guess that depends, but I hope so. In this podcast, I will read to you letters I've received from convicted murderers, including some serial killers. I will share with you exclusive stories from women I have interviewed, some who have found their greatest love in a man behind bars, and others who have had their hearts broken and their lives shattered. You will hear from a prison warden I spoke with, whose staff shuffled through Charles Manson's 200 weekly love letters. As we unravel love's allure, you may learn more about your own romantic chemistry and perhaps inexplicable attractions, though possibly not with serial killers. I am Joy Krause, and that wraps up another intriguing case at Killer Love Hacks. If you're itching for more clues on the mysterious ways of love, don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or right from our Love Detective headquarters at killerlovehacks.com, so you'll never miss a case. Subscribe, leave a review, and help us spread the word by sharing the podcast with your true crime love detective buddies. Until next time, keep your heart open and your eyes peeled. Who knows where the next clue will lead? Happy sleuthing, Killer Love Hackers!